Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where we dive into the minds of authors, exploring the profound realms of faith, social issues, and the delightful world of entertainment. I'm your host, Jaime Wright, and on this literary journey, you never quite know what you're going to get. Hey there, Madlit enthusiasts. Our podcast is sponsored by the esteemed Baker Publishing Group. Whether you're into heartwarming romance, gripping suspense, or deep dives into matters of faith and society, Baker Publishing Group has it all. With Revell and Bethany House publishers under their umbrella, they bring you a diverse array of books that will captivate your mind and stir your soul. Check out all of their line at www.bakerbookhouse.com. Hi, everyone. It is Jaime Wright here with Madlit Musings, and I'm excited to have Suzanne Wood-Fisher back in the studio. Hey, Suzanne.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I think it's kind of funny. I'm like back in the studio, except we're like separated by thousands of miles, so I'm not sure how that works. But
And
hey,
you have a cat walking behind you in your
I
studio.
just do you ever have one of those days where you feel like everything's just running away without you and you're
out of
just trying to keep
control.
up? Oh, fun. But you have a new book release. I'm very excited about it.
I am too. I'm really pleased. This is called The Healing Touch, and is the first book about a character who's been in a number of backstories, because all of my Amish fiction takes place in the same little town of Stony Ridge.
Okay.
Which is kind of fun because it's almost like a big family.
Yeah.
Big family is like a small town, or a small town is a big family.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a story about a doctor who had been raised Amish.
Okay.
She left because she really wanted to pursue higher education, and she also had a lot of conflict with her mother.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the backstories as well. Her brother is the bishop of the town.
Okay.
So she has kind of gone full circle after leaving, and really leaving, to coming back, and now she is really a doctor to the Amish, as well as non-Amish, but she's a doctor who understands them. She speaks their language, and she believes in making house calls. She just believes that when I'm in someone's home, I am catching things that I would miss in a 15-minute office visit. And so that's kind of the premise of it. She's called Doc.
Okay.
Highly respected. Really she's about probably my age, in midlife. and has a late marriage, never had children, but is very involved in her brother's life. And it's just sort of a fun, I love using a seasoned woman to unroll stories, because one of the many things about growing older that I think is really wonderful is you just see how things play out. You see how things go. And so to be able to put that into stories, I think is really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I had an interview the other day that a woman said, "Why do you have so many women in their late 50s?" And I thought, because they have something to say.
Because they need representation too.
And they have earned the right.
Yes, they have. They have. Well, I do think, though, when you think about that audience and that demographic, though, there really is, I mean, that's a huge part of the readership nowadays, is people, in that 35 on up spread of age. And it's not like life stops after 35, We have a lot of life to go, a lot of things to experience.
In fact, I started something new in January where I send out to those who want it, something called Uplift, and it's a Friday newsletter.
Oh.
And it's a thoughtful reflection on something that's happened. I also add a recipe, which is the top downloaded thing. That's the most.
I've heard that about recipes. People who do recipes that people want them.
People want. Tell me what to make for dinner. And then, I'll add a podcast. I'll add a TV show, just kind of a current thing.
Sure.
So one thing I have loved about it is that it creates a conversation with my readers, which is really good. And it's so different from just throwing a newsletter every now and then. I've got a new book out. This is ongoing, and there's an invitation to talk via new email.
Mhm.
Okay, here's what I'm getting to. There are so many remarkable women in their
Mhm.
80s and their 90s who are very computer savvy. They are
Yes.
intense readers. They are some of the smartest people. They're so with it. And they're, oh, I'm just, if nothing else, I think it is just so fun to see that population
Mhm.
and to look forward to it, that there is
Yeah.
a lot of good things ahead.
There really is, and, the thing I love about the population that we're talking about, you also have a lot of the readers who have reached an age of retirement, and so often I think in our culture, we're kind of like, "Oh, you're done. You've
Mm,
either succeeded or you've not, and now you're in your golden years." But one of the things I love is I'll get messages from readers within that age group, and one of the things they have and purposefully make time to do is the time to pray and to encourage
mm,
the author and other people around them. And I don't know how many times I'll get an email from someone in the older age bracket. And I just kind of want to do that whole like, I want to sit down, I want to have coffee with you, I want to learn from you because you've experienced years that I haven't yet. And there's so much that can be learned from people who have already gone through
mhm,
things that are still yet for me to go through and vice versa all the way down. So I love seeing the different age groups within novels. I think it's
mhm,
great. I think it's great. So Ruth or Doc, which I noticed is spelled DOK
mhm.
on your website. Is that because of the Amish German influence?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you have another character named B who faces a breast cancer diagnosis.
Well, so this story is
Okay.
really about 3 women, and
Okay.
Doc is the main one.
Okay.
She's the one who is overhelping everybody because that's
Okay.
just her nature to
Hmm.
sort of step in and
Hmm.
overhelp. And one of the persons that you mentioned is Bea Bennett.
Okay.
She is new, she's not Amish, and that's where I kinda
Okay.
think of this book as a hybrid. I don't think of it as strictly Amish, it's
Okay.
really got both. Because Doc is
Okay.
the doctor to both,
Right.
and I like that. I think it's kind of fun because I like being able to look at the Amish through outsider eyes
Mhm.
and just talk about insights and things that you wouldn't talk about if you were just
Yeah.
was your culture. So, Bea Bennett is new to Stony Ridge.
Okay.
She had just moved in. She and her husband, he retired,
Mhm.
and he dropped dead, very unexpectedly, and she is suddenly left in a brand new community, a brand new house, one that really isn't even unpacked yet,
Okay.
and not only grieving deeply, that's the loss of just everything that they thought
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Then she gets a diagnosis of breast cancer, and so she also is trying to navigate that, and this is where
Okay.
Doc mightily overhelps for in many ways. One thing about Bea Bennett that is had so much fun with this.
Okay.
Her history is as a Olympic elite equestrian. So, she
Oh
has moved to
my.
Stony Ridge with her horses, and they are
Okay.
these beautiful horses from the lineage of the horse that went to the Olympics with her,
Okay.
and I learned so much by interviewing different people who've had this experience of what breeding this kind of a horse is like, and in
Mhm.
fact, I bet you didn't know this, breeders tend to be hoarders.
Interesting.
They hoard genetics. They have a very hard time letting.
Oh. Oh, interesting.
So a lot of Bee's story is that she can't let go of her horses. She can't
Mhm.
let go of her husband's possessions. She can't let go
Mm.
of, you know, of the life she was meant to have. So
Yeah.
Doc, being Doc, decides that, oh, she needs to connect with this Amish woman who is just a spitfire. And it was so much fun because this Fern Lap has been in a number of other books. She's just
Okay.
a woman of few words, but man, does she hit the mark. And Doc just keeps bumping them together, and B just almost leaves angry each time she visits
Mm.
Fern, and yet something pulls her back in.
Yeah.
And, like, one example is she says, "Well, how did you handle it when your husband died? What did you do with his possessions? Where are they?" And she said, "Well, by" this is true to the Amish. "Well, by the end of the day, we had an auction, not the end of the day he died, but just within a very short time,
Yeah.
everything's gone because in their mind, he's not gonna use these clothes anymore, and they need to be used, and here B can't, she still has this everything in their closet,
Right.
she
Right.
the last thing he touched, the last thing
Yeah.
he had."
Yeah.
Things like that that just kind of shock her
Mm.
into, making some little bit of changes. So that's B. Bennett. Really fun.
Okay.
There's a romance
Okay.
brewing in her life as well.
Okay.
Again, Doc overhelps in that area.
I think I'm gonna really like Doc.
Yeah.
She sounds a little bit like I think I would have a tendency where I wanna help so much, I'm just kinda helping too much.
But she's not like a busybody. She's not a
Yeah.
overly curious. She's just like, "Jamie
Okay.
Joe, we gotta get you," kinda. Um, so then 3rd character is an
Okay.
Amish woman.
Okay.
That's the one who is on the cover, though she does not actually have this baby, but
Okay.
her name is Annie Fisher, no relation,
Okay.
and she is Doc's assistant, and she's
Okay.
a fantastic assistant. She has one flaw, which is she has, like, a crippling shyness, just
Mm.
absolutely painful. So for her to, for example, knock on the exam room when Doc has a patient because another
Oh,
doctor has called with test results,
yeah.
she's terrified that someone's naked behind that door and she can't do it.
I'm not
Things
sure
like
I blame her on that one, but yeah.
that. She's really a neat character, but she has this
Yeah.
moment where and the baby is in a part of the story. The baby was an abandoned baby
Okay.
Doc found on her doorstep at the office. When the EMTs came, because the
Mhm.
baby was taken to the hospital for, care, because it was a brand new baby, like
Mm.
umbilical cord still there kind of
Wow.
baby. Annie had this moment where she felt a calling to become an EMT, just watching
Oh,
what they were doing, just
okay.
like, God just tapping her on the shoulder.
Mm.
But here and there are Amish EMTs,
Okay.
and there are female Amish EMTs, but wasn't common in their community.
Mhm.
Her mother is a raging hypochondriac and a catastrophic thinker, so no way
Okay.
was she gonna let her daughter do that.
Right.
And then the last thing also is her crippling shyness. I mean,
Yeah.
how does she even take a class when she can't raise her hand or things like that? So
Right.
it's a
Right.
lot of again,
Wow.
Doc comes in to
I love it.
she's gonna work on this, so
I love it. I love it. So it sounds like really it's a lot of the relationship between the 3 different women, and then God really taking them and say, "Hey, you're here. I want you to move here," and it's severely out of their comfort zone. Am I correct?
I think especially for Doc, because
Okay.
turns out this little baby, they found the identity of the mother, who
Okay.
has since disappeared, and it turns out to be Doc's husband's, like, second cousin.
Oh, okay.
So suddenly Doc and her husband are the emergency foster care parents for this baby.
Oh.
This part of the story is based on a true story of
Oh,
a
is it?
couple that took on like a second cousin,
Okay.
a familial
Mhm.
connection,
Mhm.
and raised this little baby, and they were, you know, he was already 2, they were starting the
Oh,
process of adoption,
okay.
and then everything changed,
Yeah.
and same thing in this story too, and
Okay.
it was my friend gave me permission to use it, and a lot of details have been changed, but I
Sure.
just feel like well, you meant that great comment about God is pushing people out of their comfort
Mhm.
zone.
Mhm.
I also feel like the whole adoption story, it it's like you're looking at a house from a different window,
Mhm.
the foster care side is different from the
Mhm.
the biological parent side,
Mhm.
and everybody from the social worker side, everybody's
Mhm.
trying to do the best thing for the baby. It's
Yeah.
such a complicated story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was adopted. I don't know if you know that.
I did not.
Yes, I was born and went right into foster care as a baby. And I was only there for a few weeks because my parents had been on the list for adoption. So I was raised in foster care for all of a couple weeks. And then I was placed into my parents' home as their adopted daughter. And I have an adopted older brother who was in foster care for 4 months before he was adopted. So that resonates a little bit, that concept
Yeah.
of being taken in and then all the dynamics. Um, growing up, hearing the different dynamics of the different people that were involved in the process, and it's definitely an interesting thing. And then when you're outside of your comfort zone as an adopted parent, I remember my mom said with my brother the first time she brought him home, she said she felt like she was kidnapping.
Mm.
She said, because they hand you this child and you sign these papers and then you get in a car with a child you've never met before and you just drive away.
Yeah.
At least that's how it was in the 70s. Now I'm aging myself. But she's like, it was so, because everything then was a closed adoption. You didn't meet the birth parents, you didn't meet it. So you go to basically an orphanage and take us out of it and then drive away with us. And she said, I kept looking over my shoulder like the police were going to come.
So
Or
bewildering.
it
One
is.
day
It's very bewildering. Yes.
my
Yes.
daughter-in-law is adopted, and
Okay.
just same thing. Hers was actually an open adoption, but a
Okay.
teenager who I just apparently the grandmother had talked her out of ending the pregnancy, and I'm so
Mm.
thankful.
Wow.
And she went really from the delivery room into her waiting adoptive parents'
Okay.
hands. What I
Okay.
find so interesting is that her bridesmaids, I think a handful of them out of just a few were adopted. There was still
Really
a little
interesting.
part of her that just connected with.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever felt this way. You have and Amanda, my daughter-in-law, does too, a very close relationship with her parents, and
Yeah.
you have such a close relationship with your parents.
Very. Yeah.
Does it
Yeah.
feel like a big question mark in your mind? Do you feel like
I think with adoption, it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, I mean, you always have the questions. And then you have now with the internet and everything, there's the part of you that's kind of like, it can't be that hard to figure things out as far as roots and stuff. But then there's always the questions of, is it Pandora's box? What am I opening? Um, and so there are the questions of the unknown, but then there's also the known. And I know not all adoptees have been blessed in the way that I was, but to have parents who prayed you into existence and couldn't wait to get you. And, growing up as a child, it was never hidden that I was adopted. And it was always told as this exciting, amazing, like almost like fairy tale, like the
Mm,
parents ride in on the white horses and save you and pick you up and carry you to safety. And so I always grew up with it being a really positive um, experience of what it means to not just belong, but belong because someone chose you. They didn't have to, but they chose to keep you. And there's always that part of me too that's like, um, I think about what if, like, there's got to be a limit to someone's faithfulness. And then at some point, they're just going to be like, push you aside or get rid of you because it's happened before. That's the psycho part of my head. Um, so it could happen again and it probably will. So you've got those things you struggle with too. But the evidence of God's role in who you've become and his hand in your life as an adoptee is just very stark
I mean,
when you
it's
have
all
that in
through
your
the New
past.
Testament.
It is.
Well, which is kind of neat. You have
Yeah.
a perspective on that.
Yeah,
That's
it really is. It really is. Now you flipped the script on me and started interviewing me.
I know, I have more questions for you
What
too.
was what was that? What's that about, Suzanne?
I have to ask you this
Yeah.
because you were saying the unknown, and I
Uh-huh.
thought, Jamie Joe, most of what you write is about the unknown.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. Yeah, there's always the unknowns. And yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. I'm like, maybe there's a parallel that I didn't realize that was deep in my
Mm,
psychosis. But I think there's an element of the unknown. How do I put it? That there is the unknown. Like, I look at my daughter who knows her parents. She doesn't have the question marks of who else
mm.
is still out there that she doesn't know, but yet she knows that they know her or they know of her or she somehow touched them. She doesn't have those elements to think of. And so as an adoptee, as you grow and you get older, you're like, I know there's a whole segment of individuals somewhere that has a connection to me, familially, if that's a word, we're going to go with it, that they're probably in a way bonded to me, or maybe they don't want me to show up. I'm not sure. And those are the unknowns. There's the little closet doors that you're scared to open because you could open it and it could be beautiful, or you could open it and the monsters could jump out, and you just don't know.
And that is your books.
And that is my books. You're right. Wow. Wow. Well, thanks for joining us today on Mad Lit Musings, where we've analyzed Jamie's psychosis and come to a conclusion as to why she writes what she writes.
I'm not even going to charge you, Jamie Joe.
Gee, thanks. I feel like I've gone through therapy.
You're welcome.
I'll just go out and buy like 25 copies of your book and that'll give them all away. But I will say I suddenly have a deeper kinship with the baby on the cover of your book.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Just knowing that that's a little abandoned infant. And then you look at somebody like, Annie, who's on the cover, and she's struggling with her own things, obviously. There's almost a kinship in that because I think within our abandonments of life, you do find those kindred spirits that you can connect with, and in some ways saving somebody else who's abandoned kind of brings healing to you. A healing touch. Oh, that was unplanned. It really was unplanned. Look at us. We're just on a roll.
Yes, no.
Oh, so fun, so fun. So what else do we need? Is there more stuff we need to know about this book since I've gotten way off track?
I have an incredible giveaway going on.
Okay.
Because I was trying to find a way to really make this a book. Like, this is a book about modern medicine meets Amish wisdom.
Okay.
And the Amish have a very different view of medicine.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they reject it. They go to doctors, but they also open their minds up a little bit to alternative treatments. And I think when it comes to a moment of, say, a terminal disease or stage, I think they would kind of walk into it and not fight it. And that is a very different from modern medicine that believes death is the enemy. They don't believe that.
Right.
So I wanted to find a way to make this, to really celebrate the launch and do something fun where it's kind of just self-care. So with the help of my publisher, we are giving away 10 gift certificates to Massage Envy.
Wow.
I know. And you could use it for yourself, or you could gift it to someone. It's your choice if you're a winner.
Wow.
It's probably lasting another 2 weeks. I think and I just thought, I love that idea that just you take good care of yourself. And Massage Envy, we figured out it's across the country. There's the best opportunity to find one near you.
Right.
So hopefully people who
That's
win,
so
it's
cool.
not creating a problem for them. But
that's so cool. So where do they go? Do readers go to enter this?
Go to my website, SuzanneWoodsFisher.com, and there's a contest page, and you are welcome to toss your bonnet in the hat.
There you go. Look at that. Current giveaways. Well, that's super cool. And I do love that. I love the concept of caring for oneself. And it is neat that you've got kind of the mixture of the Amish and the modern coming together in this way. Because I've had enough health issues with my autoimmune where, sometimes that non-modern medicine is extremely beneficial in helping. And then other times it's like, give me the antibiotics. I need to just knock it down. And I love the marriage of the two. To me, that's the ideal.
Especially the things that are within your control. Do what you can, like exercise and things like that. But
and don't eat the 40 donuts a month diet. We're dead in apple fritter season here in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin knows how to eat well.
Oh, we know how to eat so well. And so everything's fried apple, fried fritters, fried donuts, fried apple, this and that. And it's difficult, Suzanne. It's difficult.
You're farmers up there. And this
we are.
Food that gives you energy.
I mean, we're the people that even put cheese on top of our apple pie. So. Oh my goodness. Well, this is always so fun to chat. And I love how we kind of always go off and around. But to bring it back home, the title of the book that's available now is A Healing Touch by Suzanne Woods Fisher. And you can get it wherever books are sold, really. So don't forget to go to her giveaway, which is going on for a while yet. And we'll make sure this podcast airs so that you have time to enter.
Thank you.
And the website is Suzanne with a Z, woodsfisher.com. Dun dun dun. That was very dramatic. All of a sudden I was like, am I emceeing for a game show or something right now? And you too can win.
We're just directing traffic.
I guess. Oh, well, I'm sure that we'll be chatting more in the future. I know you've got more books coming out. Yep. I'm excited to chat about those. And so we'll see you around.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Jaime Jo.
Thank you for joining Madlit Musings, where every conversation is a journey and every book is a new adventure. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast player or check us out on YouTube, and let's explore the fascinating intersection of faith, society, and storytelling together.